Hi, good evening. We're going to get started. Just want to welcome everyone for coming to our third and final strategic planning session. It's great to see everyone. Whether you've come to all three or just one or two meeting sessions, we really appreciate the community and the administration coming out to support this initiative. We have our NJSBA representatives here today, Marianne Friedman, who's been with us for all three sessions. So thank you so much, and I'm now going to turn it over to Superintendent Mark Daniels.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. So I will echo Nicole's sentiments. Good evening, everyone. This is the third session. I do appreciate everyone kind of honoring that commitment. There's plenty of other things you could be doing on a spring evening at 6 p.m. So definitely don't take that for granted. The feedback thus far has been very helpful. Just to refresh our collective memories, your input is really shaping the direction of the school district for what we anticipate to be the next 3 to 5 years. So we've gone through the process of kind of identifying strengths and challenges. The last meeting, we kind of focused on vision in terms of identifying those things in addition to the programs we currently have in the district. You know, if we were to fast forward 5 years, what are some aspects that we would like to see that would reflect successful schools? Tonight, we'll engage in kind of recapping some of that and then transitioning into, actually, I should point out that we did identify 5 goal areas, and you're seated at those areas currently. Tonight, we're looking to shape some goals and some actions to support those goals coming into fruition. So with that said, I'm going to turn things over. It's good. This is the last time I'm talking tonight. So I'm going to turn things over to Marianne Friedman from New Jersey School Boards. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. It's so good to see you all again tonight. We appreciate your coming out. As Mr. Daniels said, it's a kind of crummy night, but there's obviously things you could be doing, so thank you for being here. My name is Marianne Friedman. I'm a field service representative with New Jersey School Boards. We're a nonprofit group that works with boards of education to help provide training and other services. And Tim Tian is here. Everybody wave to Tim over by the computers. And Tim is joining me tonight, and so we're very glad that you're here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, whoops, I didn't turn it on. Yes, it is on. Okay. Going to talk a little bit about, just recap what strategic planning does for a district. It helps to create a district-wide vision and mission for the district, and this is being done by you. It's being formulated by all of you. So you are going to help to plan for the next 3 to 5 years. It does provide a roadmap for the board and for the administration, and so we're grateful that you're here. The advantages of strategic planning, and thank you to our translators who have translated our PowerPoint so that everybody can follow along. The advantages of strategic planning are it helps the board to become more proactive because boards have had to become more reactive to the things that come out of Trenton from the Department of Education, and it also allows them to be more creative and flexible because you're providing some of that creativity, and then they have the ability to be flexible with the information. It also provides for a form of community participation that you don't typically see in a school district. School districts, it's important to know, school districts do not have to develop a strategic plan. They do not have to invite folks in from their community, their parents, community, staff members, students, administrators, board members to come in to help to formulate this. But this board decided that they wanted your input, so they have invited you in to do that. And typically, if you're a parent in the school district with kids in the school district, you come in for back to school night, possibly parent-teacher conferences, generally, and to different events. But tonight, and if you're a community member, you may come in for events. But tonight and the other 2 nights, everybody's voice is equal. So nobody's voice is more important, nobody's voice is less important than anybody else's. And so this will also provide for a cycle of planning, an ongoing cycle of planning over the next several years. So this is our cascade effect of strategic planning. The goal areas have been identified at our last meeting. They were student-centered learning, staffing, community engagement, facilities and finance, and then culture and climate. And so they will be at the top of everything, and they will inform what goes on in the district over the next 3 to 5 years. They'll inform the district and the board goals, which are generally set by the board and the superintendent over the summer. They'll also inform the building goals and department goals and administrators' goals, student growth objectives, and staff professional development plans. And that ultimately flows into student achievement, which will improve for all students in all grade levels. And we see that happen all the time with strategic planning. Student achievement really does rise. So this is our pyramid effect, and the only thing that's missing is on the side there should be commitment, and that's the commitment of the Board of Education, to not only have invited you in, but to listen to what you have to say. So at the first meeting, we had Mr. Daniels give the State of the Schools report, and then you, in your small groups, you identified areas of strength and areas of challenge for the district. We asked you, if you remember, to come up with a top 10 list. Think David Letterman. Then at our last meeting, we had you break up into groups again, and those were all random. Tonight's really strategic planning gone wild, because you get to sit wherever you want to with whomever you want to sit with, okay? But last time we had you think about vision and initiatives. You were away from the district for about 5 years. You come back, you stop at Wawa to get gas, you go in to get coffee, and you see Time magazine, and it says schools that succeed, and on the cover are pictures of East Windsor Township School District. So we asked you to think about, in addition to all of the great programs that were already happening in the school now, what would you expect to see happening in 3 to 5 years that would put you on the cover of Time magazine? So we talked about those things. And then at the end of that, we talked about common themes from the initiatives, and we identified goal areas. So tonight what we're going to do is ask you to think about those goal areas and take a look at the stapled packets that are at your tables. You also have an agenda at the table. Let me hold up the agenda. The agenda has your brainstorming sheet on the back, so if you've been here before, you remember that the back of the agenda has your brainstorming sheet. And then this packet, which is stapled, is going to give you the outcomes and the common themes from meeting 1 and meeting 2. And we want you to really take a look at those outcomes and see what it is you would like to see happening in the district in the next 3 to 5 years under those 5 goal areas. If you want to provide input at the table you're sitting at and then move to another table, you can do that as well. But on the back of your sheet, you do have a brainstorming section, and you can take a look at those challenges and those initiatives from last time. Don't just look at what your group did. If your group was number 1 or 2, look at all of the other groups and what they came up with also, and look at those common themes, and then see what it is you would like to see happening in 5 years from now. And then you are determining what it is you want to see happen, not how it's going to happen, but what you want to see happen. Okay, and then the administrative team, along with the superintendent, will develop action plans, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. So I just want to go back to your mission statement. Oh, this is tough to read. Through a safe, inclusive learning experience that's grounded in best practices, student in the East Windsor Regional School District will develop and strengthen academic, social, and emotional skills needed in order to be successful, productive citizens. We serve serving every child every day. We strive to increase achievement by challenging and supporting each student to reach his or her highest potential, address the needs of the whole child by ensuring students feel healthy, safe, engaged, supported, and challenged with opportunities for social emotional learning and growth, and prepare all students with the skills and awareness necessary to actively contribute as productive local and global citizens, and provide professional staff with the knowledge, skills, and resources necessary for highly effective delivery of instruction and services. So we do work on a consensus basis. It's not majority rule. So we would like you to introduce yourselves to each other when I give you the go-ahead to start. Introduce yourselves to each other, and then talk about different things that you would like to see happening in the district in 3 to 5 years. It may be decreased class sizes. It may be adding more extracurricular programs or curricular programs or sports activities or other activities, maybe more of the arts, adding more staff, adding diversified staff, those kinds of things. And then ask questions when people are offering you those comments and when you're having those discussions. Ask for clarification if you would like to, and then hopefully paraphrase and come to acceptance. Consensus does not mean it's your first choice, but it does mean that you can live with it and support it. Okay, so that's the big difference between majority rule. In majority rule, you have winners and losers. In consensus, you have everybody coming to acceptance of being able to live with and supporting what may not be their first choice. So again, this is strategic planning gone wild. You're able to sit wherever you would like to. You have no numbers on your name tags. You saved me from making out another 100 name tags, so I appreciate that. And so the 5 goal areas were student-centered learning, staffing, community engagement, facilities and finance, and culture and climate. And so what are goals? They're the desired outcomes that are necessary to fulfill your mission. They're aspirational, they're positive, and they're student-centered. Then objectives are the various means to achieve those goal areas, and they are specific, tactical, and descriptive. And then the action plans are what the superintendent and the administrative team will come up with, which will give you major activities under each of the objectives, under each of the goal areas, and then they will have next to them what the activity is, who's responsible for it, whether it's the board or the staff, and which staff. What are the resources that we need to accomplish that major activity, which is usually time, people, or money. What's the time frame for that? Remember, everything unfortunately can't happen in year 1, so some things will happen in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, because sometimes the administrative team and the board will have to build up those resources to be able to accomplish some of the things that you might like to see happen. And then what are the indicators of success for each of those activities? How will we know that that particular activity has been accomplished? Okay? So just components of a goal statement are an action verb. Usually it's increase, explore, obtain, develop, research, create. Then a statement of nouns. What is it that you would like to impact? Okay? And then what, so that. What is the outcome that you want to accomplish? So a sample goal would be create a safe and secure learning environment, equipped to deliver 21st century programs. Okay, then you have the goal writing process. So this is where a district took their ideas from their first meeting, strengths and the challenges. Strengths were safety and security. Facilities were another strength was facilities improvements, building configurations, and class size and space. Challenges were environmental concerns, older buildings, safety and security, which can be a challenge and a strength, and then mandates and resources drain. Then they looked at the vision initiatives from the second meeting, and they were, for this particular group, interactive learning spaces, open floor plans, expanding school choice program, virtual classrooms, safe learning environment, equitable distribution of funds for facilities, state-of-the-art facilities, and all green facilities. And then what they came up with was the goals area was facilities and finance. They added safety and security to that. And the goal statement was to create a safe and secure learning environment equipped to deliver 21st century programs. And their objectives were upgrade facilities to be more energy and cost efficient, increase internal and external security at all schools, and upgrade existing facilities to be more structurally modernized. So you've already selected a goal area that you would like to work on. We'd like you to review those strengths and challenges from that first meeting and those common themes at the end of that section, and then look at the vision and initiatives from the second meeting and look at the common themes from from meeting 2. And then use that information to consider strategies that you would like to include, things that you would like to see happening. Then you'll take those strategies and put them into several buckets. Anything that goes together can be in a separate bucket, and develop 4 to 5 objectives that contain those strategies that you would like to see happening. And then we'll ask you to write an overarching goal statement that's a broad goal statement that will overarch all of the objectives. So it's backwards by design. Tim and I did this last night in another district, and they started with identifying what the goal statement was going to be, and then they looked at their objectives from there. However you want to do it is fine. Whatever works best for your group is absolutely fine to do. But the activity for tonight is to come up ultimately with a goal statement that's broad in nature, come up with 4 to 5 objectives, and then any strategies that you might like to see. Okay, and then we'll ask each group to report out to the larger group, much like you did the last time. Any questions? Yes. No, you can move if you want to contribute to community engagement, and then you want to go over to student-centered learning, or you want to go over to culture and climate. You can do that. Just remember, everybody's voice is equal tonight. Nobody's voice is greater or less important than anybody else's. And if you have a question, just put your hand up, and Tim or I will come over. We're going to give you until about 7:05 to come up with your goal statement, your objectives, and if you would like to have strategies included in there, and then we'll have a sharing out of that and reporting out, and then we'll say goodnight and thank you so much for participating in this wonderful strategic plan that's going to guide the board and the district for the next 3 to 5 years. Okay? You can introduce yourself to each other and get started. Sorry, just one more thing. Once you come to consensus on the goal statement, the objectives, and any strategies, you need to write them on the large Post-it notes that are around the room with your goal area at the top. And we would like to have that done by 7:05. Hey folks, guess what time it is? It's 5 after 7, so everybody needs to write pretty quickly up on those large Post-it notes so we can report out and get you out of here as close to 7:30 as possible. Okay, folks, everybody needs to be finished right now. Okay? Because when we say at New Jersey School Board something starts at 6 and ends at 7:30, that's our goal, is to get you out at 7:30. But you're going to be here a few minutes later. I know. I know. Okay, folks, it's that time. Who would like to report out first? Don't everybody rush the front of the room at the same time. You'll all have an opportunity. Who wants to go first in reporting out? Thank you. Staffing, come on up.
We had staffing. I think I'm. Oh yeah, that I can. You got it. All right. So for staffing, our goal is to recruit and retain staff who reflect the rich background of our student population, and that's our primary goal. And then with that, we had some secondary goals: recruiting committed staff with the ability to be flexible, adaptable, and to be able to cater to the diverse needs of our students. And then our final piece is to make sure that we're placing staff in their areas of strength. So looking at like what are they good at and making sure that's their role in the district. Thank you.
What do you all think? Good? Okay, who wants to go next? Finance, facilities and finance. Come on down. I feel like Bob Barker.
So our goal was to create a safe and secure learning environment while remaining fiscally responsible. And our objectives, we had 3: upgrade educational, athletic, and health facilities to be more energy and cost efficient. The second was adequate dedicated facilities or space for an early childhood education. And then the third was to leverage technology to streamline district operations.
Thank you so much. Who wants to go next? Culture and climate. Climate and culture. I'm bringing you the microphone.
All right. So we have cultivate an inclusive and respectful climate for all stakeholders that inspires and values diversity of thought and opinion. And then we have foster a sense of belonging by increasing the level of participation in extracurriculars by 30%. All levels of stakeholders follow a shared code of conduct. administer a panorama survey 2 times per year to stakeholders of all levels, increase the awareness and celebrate the varied cultures represented in the East Windsor Regional School District by infusing cultural learning into the curriculum.
Thank you. I owe you. Okay, who wants to go next? Community engagement, you're up. Oh, good, we have 2.
So our goal statement is to develop and foster lasting district-wide relationships that connect people of diverse backgrounds through every academic stage of life. Do you want to read? Okay. So the objectives are 1, to design and implement universal pre-K that utilizes community resources. We then have to develop and implement summer opportunities to bridge schools and invest in future connections. Then we have developed community resources to immerse students and prepare students for their future interests. And finally, we have design and host district-wide community events to engage and include families in all aspects of school life.
Thank you. Okay, student-centered learning.
Hello. Okay, our goal is to increase the academic engagement, to increase the academic achievement of all students through rigorous instruction as defined by increased collaboration, real-world application, increased engagement, and active inquiry. This will be measured by utilizing multimodal assessment and challenging each student to perform. Objectives: STEM, increase exposure to concepts and content K through 12. The second is achieve the MSGP of 60 in every subpopulation in ELA, Math, and NJ SLA. Third, 100% of all staff will be trained to meet the needs of special education students, ensuring appropriate placement, student-teacher ratio, and supportive services provided.
Okay. Everybody good with the goals? The goal statements? The objectives? Okay. So this is what happens next. We'll deliver all of this information to the superintendent probably in the next day. All of the outcomes are going to be on the website. And then in June, I'm going to be delivering the final plan. And hopefully Tim will be able to be with me for that. So the action plans, this is what they look like. There'll be, the goal area will be listed at the top and stated, then the objective, and then the major activities. It will have who's responsible for it, whether it's the board or whether it's staff and, possibly departments or whatever. Resources, as I said before, usually time, people, or money. Timelines. Remember, everything can't happen in year 1, so some of these things are going to take some time, and there's going to need to be some patience, even though we want everything to happen overnight. And then what are the indicators of success for each of those activities? How will we know that that's been achieved? Okay, so the administrative team is going to work on those things. After receiving everything from us, they already have meetings 1 outcomes, and meeting 2 outcomes. Please watch the school district's website for the posting of this material as well. Superintendent administrative team will work on this over the next 2 months. And in June, Tim and I will be back to present the final plan to the board and for their approval. And we hope that you'll be able to join us on that night for the celebration of having completed it and also recognition of your participation in the plan. And I'm not sure exactly what the date is, so keep an eye on the website for that. And we hope to see you there. And I really do, before I hand it back over to the board president and the superintendent, to thank you for coming tonight. Thank you so much for having been here. We had really great numbers for all 3 of these sessions. And typically they go down from session to session in larger numbers than these went down. So you had 60-something at the first meeting, 50-something last time, and 40-something this time. That's really good. So I thank you for all of your effort and your energy and your talent and your creativity in putting and working together on these things. And we hope to see you in June for the final plan. The final plan will consist of everything that we've done so far, an executive summary, and also all the action plans. Once that's approved by the board, it'll be posted on the website so you'll all be able to follow along and see what's going on when, okay? And we also always suggest an annual state of the strategic plan report by the superintendent. Oftentimes it's done in the time frame, in the month that we deliver the plan on that anniversary, but a lot of times it's done in September because that's generally the meeting where most people attend board meetings. So hopefully it'll be done at one of those. Yes? So things can be added to the strategic plan, and sometimes things can't be done. If something can't be done, it's up to the administrative team and the board to investigate it. So for instance, I was working with a board a couple of years ago down in Ocean County. Their district was literally a block and a half from, their school was literally a block and a half from the ocean. And somebody said they wanted a rooftop pool. And the building was old, it was much older, and it was a one-story building. And I said, that might not be possible because of the age of the building and the weight that would be put on, but the superintendent will look into it, ask, for the township engineer to come over and take a look at it. They said, what about a rooftop garden? I said, that's something that might be possible. So they're looking into both of those things. But what happens is if something can't happen, then the superintendent, when they report out on the state of the strategic plan, they let you know that they investigated and why it wasn't possible to happen. Okay? And sometimes it might be slated for year 2 and it might have to wait till year 3 too. So that would be explained also. Yes? Yeah, and then the board and the superintendent and the administrative team can add objectives to these also based on what the goal statement is. So they may want to add some things. That's going to be a much over, I would say that might be a 5-year objective to achieve at 100%. But that's something that, that's going to have, the administration's going to have to take a look at that and see how possible it is. It's not going to be possible in year 1, that's for sure. But it may be possible by year 5. Okay? Okay, good, yes. In East Windsor? I don't think you've done it before. That'll be up to the board at the time to see if they want to continue. Most districts that start a strategic plan usually renew it every 5 years and go through the same process. There's sometimes some changes that we make along the way in the process itself, but typically it's the same kind of a process that you go through. Absolutely. A strategic plan, if the board and the superintendent wanted to create this on their own, it would be, you wouldn't really call it a strategic plan because strategic planning really does involve your community and your stakeholders. Okay? The board also retains the authority to reprioritize things also. Yes? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The hardest part of this always is having people start the conversation and get to the meat of the conversation in the time frame that's allowed. We're talking about stretching because usually the first meeting is 2 hours because there's a state of the schools report, and then the rest of the meetings are an hour and a half. We're talking about adding another half hour to each of those meetings so that people don't feel quite as rushed. But there also were, and there always are, a number of groups that get done in that time. So it's trying to, manage all of that and get everybody to kind of stay focused, and that's part of our job. And as I said to a couple of the groups, the hardest part of my job, I feel, is asking people to stop talking, because this is one of those opportunities that's very rare for you to be able to sit down and have these deep conversations about what you want to see happen in the district. So that's part of the hard job that we have, is trying to get you all kind of corralled and back into, getting the objective of the evening done. I'm going to turn it back over to the board president. Okay. She looks surprised. And again, thank you so much for being here. These are your kids, by the way, from your website.
I just want to thank everyone again for coming out. I echo a lot of what Marianne said. It's so great to see students and community members and the administration and faculty that did come. Thank you so much. I'd also like to commend our youngest community members who were so well behaved. They deserve a round of applause. They were very well behaved. Yes, all the students that, yes. Do you have anything you want to say? That's, have a good night. Make sure you get a brownie. The brownie's very good. And thank you again. And thank you, NJSBA and Marianne and Tim.